recenter, connect to your inner core, your inner essence, your real quantum self. I love that word, obviously. That where your intuition lies. You know, reconnect with your intuition. Our intuition, our gut feelings are usually true. And in times like this, I would like to encourage people to revalue that, you know. So with going within, we mean all of those things. I also would like to share, apart from the 4 things that are somewhat practical, as a sort of directive to how to deal with your fears, and this is only my personal perspective, which is the only one I can share, okay? I look at this whole unfolding as this is a means to roll out something much bigger. I feel that beyond the virus issues are much bigger agendas at play. As many of you know, since 2012, there has been a revolution in consciousness, because in 2012, our Earth, our solar system entered a new part of space where there is higher vibrational photonic light. So we are bombarded with higher vibrational energies, and this started a movement, a development where there would be mass awakenings, and I was one of those, and I know that there are many of you out there that are in a similar journey. So 2012 was a pivotal moment for the Earth as a collective. And also, collective is another word that I would actually like to highlight here. You're not in this alone, even if you're alone in isolation. This is a collective unfolding, because there is a collective lesson, if you will, to be learned. Because if I get a little bit off topic, and I'll come back to my wider perspective address. So just, you can look at what is unfolding in many different ways. Even if you do watch the news or the mainstream media, you can still sort of take a little step back and say, well, what is the first thing, the obvious thing I see? Okay, there is sickness, there is suffering, there is collapse, there is panic. There is all these negative components that are unfolding right in front of your eyes. But that is only one perspective. You could also see it as a beautiful unfolding. You could say this virus that is causing the world to go on lockdown is bringing us all together. We all now have time to actually speak to each other. Nature is having a chance, an opportunity to actually do a massive reset. Just looking at Barcelona, no more air pollution, beautiful spring blossoms. I saw that Venice, that there's wildlife, natural life back in the canals in Venice with dolphins and swans and different beings. I mean, it's amazing. It's also making people very compassionate. There's a massive heart opening. And so I could continue. So I'm just giving you these examples just to share with you that there are many perspectives possible. It is completely up to us as a collective and as an individual consciousness to decide in every given moment what is the perspective with which we observe this unfolding. And this brings me back again to your inner self, to your true self. Which perspective actually serves me? Which actually adds something positive to my life? Which actually makes me come to a kind of peaceful, a state and an attitude of gratitude? Because we have so much to be grateful for. We should all count our blessings. Most of us have a roof over our heads. We have money in the bank. We have loved ones. We have friends. You know, those are the things that are really important. And so most of us have a really good health. Just realize that, you know, the perspective is not chosen for you. It's not a default setting, even though the media would like to portray it like that. It is not so. So again, you know, realize that there is much good to see in this, to find in this, and to align with. So it's not all bad at all, I would say. I hope for many it is something very uplifting, you know. And so coming back to my wider perspective, in line with the 2012 awakening, there are many big agendas coming to a halt. There are many old structures that, let's say, we call the old energy, that are not only being brought to a grinding halt, they are going to be up for a total revision. If they don't reform, if all these big structures, whether that is multinational corporations, political systems, you understand what I'm saying. If they don't reform and actually turn from a surface to self to a surface to others institution or corporate company, they will crumble. So this virus is, in many ways, it is the interface, that's a good word, for many other things that are out of whack, that are out of balance, that are old energy, to actually become enhanced, to be looked at from under a microscope. And it's going to be a make or break moment. I think it is probably very logical to also understand that things like airline travel will completely change, because the way that globally we were all using airplane travel, and I'm one of those too, I'm not excluding myself from this. The frequency with which we did that, our carbon footprint from most people is very high. And so I think this is the interface that is going to serve as the enabler of a lot of old systems to be forced to transform, and to transform from a non-serving, or let's say only serving very few, to serving the many. It is time. And therefore, I'm also very optimistic that good will come of this. And that that the year 2020 is a year of great transition. And of course, transition, as transformations, is hardly ever easy. And we're in this as a collective. And I think this moment, this whole virus analogy, is a cry for all of us, to pause. It's a giant pause button and say, where are we as a collective? And acknowledge that, and then say, so here's the good and here's the not so good. And what are we going to actually collectively learn from it, and then lift it to a higher level and manifest a better reality for all of us. Because make no mistake, thoughts are electric, because thoughts are energy. And just as we manifested our old reality, our present reality, we are also birthing and manifesting our new reality. So I see this, I would like to see this as an amazing opportunity for all of us to come together in any way possible, to make a pause and to say, let's acknowledge what is here. And let's collectively manifest a much better society that serves all of us and not only the few. And these birthing processes, yes, they can be a little painful, but that's okay. We're in it together. So as long as we can transcend our fears, acknowledge them and release them, we're in it together, and come together as a collective. We are about to see an amazingly exciting new chapter for Earth as a collective. And it is about time. So I hope this was helpful. I really enjoyed it. I will come back in a few days. I will address some other questions. If you feel free to send me more questions, I will take them into my meditations and I will take them into my channelings, and I will make more videos and connect with you that way, and hope that this is fruitful and that this is helpful. And so for now, namaste. Stay safe and stay in light. This too will pass.